of Sigma Group, Shri Harshank Patel. And we are just waiting for our chairman, Dr. Harsh Shah sir, to join us. And our expert speaker also is on his way to join us, Dr. Jagannath Patnaik sir.
Right. So Magaji, I feel Harsh ji has joined, no? Harsh and Shreya Sir.
Ji, even Rajat ji, I can see have joined with us, and we have our chairman, Dr. Harsh Shah sir.
Ji, Makaran ji, good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Jai Hind.
Jai Hind, Jai Hind. कैसे हैं संजीव जी?
एकदम बढ़िया सर, एकदम fantastic. Really, we were discussing and welcoming our respectful His Excellency Zulfikar sir, but now this is a very good opportunity for me to see. Mr. Patel also.
His Excellency is there.
Yeah.
Okay. Good afternoon. भाई साहब नमस्कार, रविंद्र जी नमस्कार जी, जुल्फिकार जी बहुत नमस्कार आपको सर, वेलकम.
Hello, namaskar, good afternoon. How's everyone here?
Good afternoon. जी. Thank you very much.
Good afternoon, Rajat ji.
Good afternoon.
Janta here from Guwahati, National Institute of.
Fantastic.
A warm welcome, Dr. Janta Chaudhary,
Okay.
our guest of honor for today,
Yeah,
and a scholar, eminent scholar. Sir,
Right.
welcome.
His Excellency
I'm from all of us are your friend only.
Yeah, Pierre Vatil, welcome.
We also welcome our senior guest, Dr. Bodhisattva Acharya ji also. He has also joined. So we welcome you, sir. Yeah. Thank you.
Welcome, Mr. Acharya.
So now just we are waiting for Dr. Jagannath Patnaik sir to join. So rest we can start now.
We already have Dr. Harsh Shah, our dynamic leader and chairman. I think if the quorum permits and our esteemed guests permit, it's 3:39. And while we may wait for Dr. Jagannath Patnaik sir to join in, we can start our webinar so that we may not get more delayed.
Yeah.
If you all agree, sir. I think only Dr. Patnaik is yet to come. Rest are all with us, including our chairman, sir.
So I feel we should start now.
A last check in the presence of good presence of you all. Himanshu ji, are we going live now?
Yeah, we are live, sir.
Great. Thank you so much.
Yes.
A very good afternoon, and Jai Hind, with warm greetings on this wonderful afternoon on behalf of Sigma Group of Schools and Colleges, or as you may call it in our international arena, Sigma Group of Institutes, along with UNACCC. We are delighted and indeed grateful to have one of the most amazing, esteemed, respected, an honorable panel of guests and speakers among us on this occasion of international webinar focused on the new education policy and how it will contribute towards achieving the sustainable development goals for a new India, the ultimate vision of every Indian, or I would say every citizen of this land who loves his nation, his country. Thank you so much. Once again, as the host, myself, Makarand Shukla, the Chief Development Officer of Sigma Group of Institutes, I welcome you all once again, especially our chief guest, Dr. Ravindra Kumarji sir, our keynote speaker, Professor Dr. Sandeep Sancheti sir, our guests of honor, His Excellency Ambassador Zulfikar sir, His Excellency Ambassador Pierre Vatel sir, our guests of honor, Dr. Sahdev Singh ji from the Government of India, Dr. Janta Chaudhary ji from the eminent think tank group. And while we wait for our expert speaker of today's international webinar, again an eminent personality in himself, Dr. Jagannath Patnaik, I take this opportunity to welcome our dynamic young leader, the chairman of the KG to PhD academic group called Sigma Group of Schools and Colleges, Dr. Harsh Shah. Thank you so much all for accepting our invitation and joining us on this virtual platform. For the further proceedings, I humbly request my senior colleague, an eminent scholar in himself on his own merit, Dr. Sanjeev Verma ji, Secretary General of UNACCC, to please accept my request and proposal to moderate the webinar and be the moderator for the further proceedings. Over to you, Dr. Sanjeev Verma ji. Thank you.
So thank you very much, Makarand. So I'm very much really I'm delighted, and just it's a good opportunity for me also. So we are having at this time His Excellency Zulfikar Garyali sir, Ambassador, His Excellency Ambassador Peri Vatel, and Dr. Ravindra Padma Shri, Dr. Ravindra Kumarji, Professor Sri Sancheti sir, Harsh Shah ji, Jagannath Patnaik sir, which is yet to come, and Bodhisattva Acharya ji, Dr. Sahdev Singh ji, Janta Chaudhary ji, and lot of Dr. Sailesh Shah ji yet to join, Shreya Shah, so Dr. Rajat Sharma. So all the senior colleagues, and it's a very, very fortunate moment, I would say, that we are here to give our thoughts on this thing. But before proceeding, I would just like to mention here that Unity of Nations and Action for Climate Change Action, the UNACC, was founded with a great vision of creating awareness among all our students, future generation persons, society, professionals, all across. Particularly if we see then the Sustainable Development Goals. United Nations has already formulated 17 Sustainable Development Goals, and with a vision and target to achieve it by 2030. But we are just thoughtfully seeing that how to achieve and how to go along, because we believe that the whole of the environment is not our ancestral property, but we have borrowed it from our future generation. So it is our responsibility to procure, preserve it in a true sense, and we need to give back to our future generation with some interest, like with some conservation. If we are not able to add something, particularly, at least we need to restore the original environment, which should be clean and this thing. So in this regard, only Dr. Rajat Sharma has started a very ambitious mission, and it was mission 1 million SDG warriors. So it was a very good concept, I would say. And he had a vision that, in fact, students are a future of our country and, in fact, future of this globe. So why not we should target our students right now? It's 2021 already, and we have to achieve and go up to 2030 and further, and so on. So they are the person who will observe, internalize the concepts, internalize the significance, and they will observe the goodness, and they can witness when they reach 2030, and they will be at the peak of their career. They will be achieving a very good position in their career, future also. So why not? We should sensitize them. So this was the vision of our UNSC's chairman, Dr. Rajat Sharma. And I, along with him, very proud to share with you that we have now achieved more than 50, and it is touching around more than 100, I would say, memorandum of understanding, MOUs with different institutions. So in this regard only, Sigma is one of the institutions who has partnered with UNSCC, and now we are here to start our vision, mission, and our ambitions, how to achieve all these things. So this was the context for today's webinar. And in the meantime, new education policy has already been framed in India. So how it is going to support this thing? So we have eminent speakers, our chief guest and expert speakers, guest of honors. So invite their views, opinion. But at the start, I would now request Dr. Harsh Shah, which is the chairman of the Sigma group of institution, a very young, dynamic leader in the field of education. He has received this, and I would say this social works and this educationist behavior from his ancestor, his great mentor and father, Sri Harsh Shailesh Shahji. So he's a very dynamic by interest. He's a football player also. See, he knows the teamwork, team spirit, and particularly the ambition of the students also. So now I would request Dr. Harsh Shah, please come on dais and say a few words and formally welcome all our guests, chief guests, guest of honors, and participants here. So over to you, Dr. Harsh Shah.
Before our dynamic chairman, sir, addresses with his welcome remarks, I take this opportunity to formally invite and formally welcome our expert speaker for today, Honorable Vice Chancellor, sir, Dr. Professor Jagannath Patnaik, sir, is with us. So
yeah.
finally, we have 100% quorum. All our guests and eminent speakers are with us. Thank you so much once again on behalf of Sigma Group of schools and colleges. And over to you, Dr. Harsh, sir, for your welcome remarks, sir.
And yeah.
Thank you, Makran, sir. Am I audible?
Yeah, you are audible.
Yeah. Very good afternoon to all. And everyone, thanks a lot for being present here and making this event a youth celebration for all of us. As we know, the world is changing today with the speed like never before. The entire planet has changed, has become a small village, signifying the message that our great land of Bharat gave to the world thousands of years ago. Vasudevam Kutumbakam. The entire world has confined into a small screen of our mobile laptop or computer. In this extraordinary circumstances and the unprecedented stress, mankind has found its way out through technology and internet. A new communication method has come into existence. Welcome to this change, ladies and gentlemen. It gives me great pleasure to host an international webinar with such honored, respected, and esteemed panel of scholars from our Sigma platform. I welcome on behalf of my large Sigma family, each and everyone with warm greetings. The new education policy coming into existence will accomplish the ultimate dream of every Indian to see India, or if I may say, Bharat, becoming the Vishwaguru and being the torchbearer of not just education or learning, but knowledge in its purest form. It was time that we wrote our history of mathematics, life science, liberal arts, science, and came out of slavish academic system that was thrown up on us during colonization. As head of a large group which offers KG to doctoral academic solutions since last 2 decades, so through its vast network of schools and colleges, I welcome this change being brought in by our visionary Prime Minister, Shri Narendra Modi ji, wholeheartedly. Sigma remains committed not just to adapt and adopt, but also contribute to the new pattern of thinking. It is revolutionized to just India's future, but shall also show a new path to the world. Once again, I welcome on this occasion today's honorable chief guest, keynote speaker, expert and all guests of honors to have joined with us in this initiative and consented to share this vast knowledge to the audience. This is just a beginning, and we shall not just continue but grow bigger and better through physical and virtual platforms, sustainable development goals, and also holistic vision of New India. Jai Hind, and thank you once again for being here and making it a great success. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Harsha, for your kind words and welcoming all our guests here. So in this, we are proceeding further. So now I will request our today's guest of honor, His Excellency, Mr. Zulfikar Ghariali ji, and as he has great honor, lot of I would say awards. So he has been appointed as Global Peace Ambassador by United Nations University for Peace as its first ever ambassador. His Excellency Ghariali ji also appointed as founding member of University for Peace Commission for Peace Innovation. So it's a great honor. And His Excellency Mr. Zulfikar Ghariali ji is a multifaceted technocrat, businessman, and entrepreneur. So lot of these words are to say. So now I would request you with this few words and request you, His Excellency Zulfikar Ghariali sir, to please introduce yourself, and say few words on today's our theme, how this new education policy is going to support this sustainable development goals. Over to you, His Excellency Zulfikar Ghariali sir.
Thank you for wonderful kind words, Mr. Verma. Really appreciate. And very good afternoon, good morning, good evening, whichever part of the world you've joined in from. I am very happy to see such a great gathering, people from incredible backgrounds contributing towards success of sustainable development, development towards achieving a bigger goal of creating a better future for our society. Here I would like to quote Barack Obama when he said in his speech that we are the first generation to feel the impact of global warming, and perhaps the last one which can actually do something about it. So it's high time that we actually did something about it. Of course, I've done a few things in my life coming from 250 years of business background based out of Mumbai and originally coming from an Iranian business family. But myself, I pride myself in being the managing director of the Royal Office of His Highness Sheikh in Abu Dhabi, His Highness Sheikh Tahnoon Al Nahyan. He's been a guiding force behind our overall business and overall achievements in UAE that you see today. It is his family's vision which has created a country where everybody, irrespective of their caste, culture, religion, background, wherever they come from, they work towards in unison to achieve a common goal, which is betterment of humanity. At University for Peace, which is one of the most important designation and responsibility that I carry on my shoulder today. The reason why I was honored enough to carry this responsibility is because I genuinely feel that there is a lot we can do, towards creating a better future. And I am of the hope that India, with its massive population, and the challenge that we have of having very limited resources. It's not just a luxury at our disposal, but it's imperative for us to focus on sustainable development. And through sustainable development only, and only we can have a long-term peace. Now, there is two types of peace in this world. One is a negative peace, where we come in between the two fighting parties and tell them to go inside their rooms or go back to their base. That is just a scaring technique. That is basically the way we create a negative peace. But we believe in positive peace, and positive peace can be created when we take care of each one of their aspirations, when we provide them with healthcare, when we provide them with education, when we provide them with clean drinking water, when we provide them with opportunity for their voice, for their growth, for their self-development. That is when people feel comfortable, they feel secured. And that sense of security actually helps create long-term sustainable peace. Today, we all are enjoying in our beautiful homes or drawing room, wherever we are sitting, we're enjoying the benefits of great electricity, internet, all the facility. Imagine if I shut your internet for next 2 hours, you literally feel bad. And if I shut your internet for 1 month, you'll definitely be on the street. So basically, it's all about creating availability of resources, and availability of resources can only be completed when we have a long-term sustainable plan for development. And inculcating those ethics from day one, like when we were young in our school, we had something known as moral science and value education. I think it's time now that the country sees introduction of sustainable development and its future. We call them sustainable development goals because they're goals for the future. But today they're the problems. When I say gender equality, it is a goal that we want to achieve in the next 25, 30 years. But today it's a problem, which means that today our women are not getting enough opportunities. How do we create enough opportunities for them? How do we give them a sense of pride? How do we create a pay parity? How do we bring more and more composite understanding between our youth, that the importance of gender is so critical for our India's growth? Women are literally 50% of the population today. So women, gender equality, coming to air quality, the water. We've all seen how wars have been fought in the past medieval ages over water and resources, very recently over oil and gas. So it's all resources at the end of the day. And if we can create availability of resources, or if we create alternative resources, like for example, even today, we are producing a very huge amount of coal-based electricity. I think India needs to come down on that, which is very much on the goal at the moment. I think the government is doing a great job in terms of encouraging through their government policies and various incentives to focus on renewable source of energy like solar and wind energy and various other sources. We want more and more such sources to be identified. We at the University for Peace are going ahead and partnering with various universities across the country, across the world, to inculcate the training, this very training of creating sustainable development through various curriculums and various courses that we have to offer. We are the only UN university, and we are the only degree allocating and accredited university, which we have 200 member nations as signatory to it. In fact, you'll be proud and happy to know that India is one of the prime signatory and one of the original supporter of the resolution at the United Nations for University for Peace. Today in India, we are very proud to be partnered with Banaras Hindu University and OP Jindal University and various other universities which are our partners. And we are working very closely to implement the education of peace and sustainability, without which there is no way we can grow together. We also want to focus on developing our arts and culture, because that's what India prides itself on. Our past and our current technicians, our artists, artisans, and our poets, our writers, our dancers, our designers, they are also some who are very much in need for opportunities. And even they will be handy to bring in sustainable, in terms of sustainable fashion, in terms of sustainable clothing. Like I was very impressed to see recently one of the ideas on non-violent silk. Some such technology, some such ideas needs to be encouraged in our country. And that can only happen if we educate our youth, if we create an aspiration within them. And to create more aspiration and to create more opportunities for them, at the UN, we have decided also to offer them jobs and 100% assurance of the jobs. So only when they see that there is a future for them and when they see that there is a job creation happening, that they will be interested to come forward and be part of the overall sustainable development and achieving its goals. We are also setting up a mentorship program in association with our partners like Hitachi and various other large corporations who have established themselves as social innovation giants in the world. We have partnered with such great companies, and we will mentor these youth STEM, what we call them, scientists, technicians, engineers, mathematicians. We want to give them the training. And I know they're very good engineers. They know perhaps machines more better than you and me. But we want to sensitize them towards sustainability. And once they have that sensitization, I think they'll be brilliant in terms of coming up with more and more sustainable development ideas, in terms of conservation, in terms of collaboration, in terms of creation. We want to support these concepts to all the way to creation. We want to support these ideas to create an impact. So that's the vision with which we are driving our goals. And I think this is what India needs today. We need to go to each and every district, each and every city, and each and every village, and sensitize our young population and even our current generations to be able to focus on more and more sustainability and how we can conserve and create more opportunities for our young generation for future. So I think going back to school, going back to basics is the most important lesson here. And we are very much looking forward to collaborate with as many universities and institutional partners that we can. We want to create more avenues for jobs in our country. We also want to create more avenues for entrepreneurship, because entrepreneurship will create many, many more jobs. Such projects and such ideas will create a lot of impact. And I think we are all ready for that. We have already allocated billions of dollars towards it. So I think it's a win-win situation for everyone. The universities benefit, the students, the community benefit, overall nation benefits, and our mission at UN also benefits. So we are here to support this vision, and we totally agree that the new education policy, which I have read, it's based on the model of the Finland education model, which is a brilliant model. And I think collaborating with universities today is the most important goal which we are working towards. Thanks to our friends and partners like Dr. Rajesh Sharma here. And I think I've already passed my message. I don't need to speak more. I will let others speak. But thank you for this opportunity at Sigma Group of Institutions and Mr. Verma. And I'm also happy to see Dr. Professor Jagannath Patnaik here, sir. Hello, nice to meet you. And indeed, my pleasure, and I look forward to collaborate with each one of you while I'm in India still for next few days. I look forward to see you, in fact, personally. Thank you so much. Have a great day, and Jai Hind. Thank you.
Jai Hind. Thank you. Very nice.
Yeah, thank you very much, His Excellency Dr. Julfikar sir, and really we can feel in fact your passion towards inculcating the peace behavior, and you are a genuine leader in this field too, and how you want to propagate the message of peace into every generation, and current including the future generation. So it's a highly appreciable, and we always welcome you, sir, from institution side as well as my own behalf. Wherever there will be opportunity, we will try to connect with you so that it will be well propagated among villages and everywhere in our country. So thank you very much for your kind words and your vision. So now we are very fortunate to have His Excellency Pierre Vatel with us. So now I would request, because he is a great personality, really it's a very wonderful, fortunate moment. This is where a lot of good persons and personalities are here. So I would request him to introduce himself, and then please share your opinion, Mr. His Excellency Pierre Vatel, sir. Over to you, sir.
Okay. Welcome to all. Yes, I welcome you, and I want to tell you that I'm very honored to have your presence. Allow me to introduce myself. My name is Pierre Vatel, French citizen, so sorry, my English is not so good. I live in Mauritius, and I am Honorable Ambassador Senatus Consultum and World Peace Ambassador.
Oh.
First, we'll talk about the climate without going too much into technical details or controversy, and then about sustainable development. The sixth report of the Czech with his forecast for the next year is once again very alarmist in its press release intended for leaders. Climate forecasting is not an exact science and depends on many factors, which involve different disciplines: economics, social science, climatology, physics, chemistry, biology, and so on. Climate change is due to endogenous causes, human activity, volcanic activity, and stability of the Earth's core, but also exogenous causes, ionization of the atmosphere, solar activity, lunar cycles, interaction between planets. And there is a lot of climate change over the last millennia, even with reduced human activity. We foresee the disappearance of the Philippines by 2050, while the atolls of Tuvalu in the Pacific have gained around 3% in area in the last 40 years. In 2010, the GIEC officially reneged on his fourth report of 27, which had won him the Nobel Peace Prize concerning the announced melting of the Himalaya glaciers by 2035, deeming it unlikely. Since 1998, the rise in global temperatures has almost come to an end. If this year we have been able to notice record temperatures in Europe and USA, in return, we have had extreme temperatures in Antarctica. Serious publication by spectroscopists specializing in infrared radiation show that infrared emissivity and absorption are saturated with 200 or 300 ppm of CO2 in the atmosphere, and that the doubling of CO2 would in no way modify this saturation. The GIEC, Group of Intergovernmental Experts for the Climate, is not a scientific research group. It only makes an inventory of scientific articles published in specialized journals. The selection of articles does not always reflect the objectivity which should prevail with contradictory opinions. The public tends to confuse climate change with pollution. Pollution side, the CO2 records do not stop falling with more than 4010 ppm in 2020 against 370, knowing that 100 companies responsible for more than 70% of carbon emission. We talk a lot about CO2 and little about methane. This is a greenhouse gas more powerful than CO2, inducing a change in electromagnetic fields, and which mainly comes from open air discharge. In 2018, the World Bank announced in its report a 70% increase in waste over the next 30 years to reach 3.4 billion tons of waste per year in 2050. This increase will largely occur in developing countries where waste is mostly stored in open air. This is one of the many challenges that we must face for sustainable development, and we must think carefully about our ecological transition. Each source of energy to be well evaluated according to, first, its carbon footprint and cost price for production. Example, self-production of hydrogen costing more than electricity produced by other sources of energy. Blue hydrogen from methane more polluting than CO2. And also storage problems. Two, its impacts of the environment and population. Visual and auditory disturbance having repercussion on people's health. Per windmill base, we use 1,500 tons of concrete that will never be removed, and 300,000 liters of sun extracted from quarries and rivers that will never be replaced, causing floods and preventing the natural backfilling of beaches. The sun is carried by rivers and takes between 100 and 1,000 years before reaching the oceans and seas. 3. It's recycling at the end of its life. 700,000 tons of electric batteries to be recycled by 2035. Wind turbines blades stored in open air cemeteries or exploding and throwing debris several hundred meters away. The cure must not be worse than the disease. As for sustainable development, it cannot be done without the condition being met on this earth, namely, 1. A roof for everyone, worthy of the name, with the required sanitary condition and drinking water, not a shelter made of metal sheets. At least two meals a day, containing enough protein, vitamins, and other elements necessary for the proper functioning of the body, and not just a bowl of rice. Quality care, not just a dispensary 10 kilometers away. 4. An education adapted to the future needs of our world, without forgetting as a teaching subject the economic science and also civic education and the relation which should govern human beings between them, and not simply an education allowing to train future consumers debenture up to the neck. 5. Infrastructures allowing an indirect movement of population in order to prevent children from having to work for more 1 hour to get to school. 6. A job where people are not treated like slaves, but where they will be recognized for their contribution to economic life. 7. An equity between women and men, between races, between religions, in order to break the division which imposed to us. We are all connected to each other, and we are one, humanity. All this cannot be done if each of us becomes aware of his place on his own, on this earth. Only the awakening of consciousness will allow us to avoid the extinction of our civilization. We are only passing through this earth that God has lent us. Let us hang on our children, grandchildren, and on those who will come after. I thank you for your attention, and I give the floor to Dr. Ravindra.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. Thank you very much for a very, very important and action-oriented words, I would say. His Excellency, very vital. It was a great, and we can feel that how you are concerned with the living of the persons who have taken birth on this earth. So this is a really great, and we of course will be noting down, and we appreciate your passion towards working towards this sustainable development goal and ensuring at least 2 nutritious meals for the person who has taken birth on this. Great. It's a great.
Wonderful, Mr. Patel.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you.
My friend.
Now, yeah. So just would like to proceed further, and so now really we are very fortunate to have with us today now our chief guest, Padma Shri Dr. Ravindra Kumarji. So he is a very, very known, I would say, one of the think tank member in India. So he's named as because he has a treasure of versatile talents, I would say here. So he's a political scientist, peace educator, an ideologist, a humanist, cultural anthropologist, Gandhian thinker, and a former vice chancellor of Chaudhary Charan Singh University, Meerut, India. Currently, he is an ombudsman of Swami Vivekananda Subharati University, Meerut, and editor-in-chief of Global Peace International Journal. He has written more than 100 books and 400 articles on greatest personalities of the Indian subcontinent, especially Gautam Buddha, Swami Vivekanand, Mahatma Gandhi, Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel, and on various social, political, educational, cultural, and academic issues to his credit. He is a great personality, and I would say he has a number of a lot of more than 100, I would say, organizations, very prestigious organizations of the world, and he has been awarded lots of awards like Merit Ratna Award, Nirala Samriti Samman, Padma Shri for Literature and Education, which is one of the most prestigious civilian award in our country in India. Shane-e-Qaum, Shanti Doot, Ambassador for Peace Awards, Sardar Patel National Award, Master of Wisdom, Peace Messenger, Peace Envoy, Buddha Ratna Award. So lot of, I have papers, and it will take a very long time to read his credentials, his well-doings, his great contribution towards society. So now I will request Padma Shri Dr. Ravindra Kumarji to please address on this international webinar, New Education Policy towards Achieving Sustainable Development Goals for New India. So now over to you, sir, Dr. Ravindra Kumarji.
Welcome, Bhai Sahab.
My voice reaches?
Yes, sir.
You are audible, sir. Yes, sir.
It gives me great pleasure to participate in this international webinar on education policy. It's important in achieving sustainable goal for New India, which has been organized by Sigma Group of Institutes in collaboration with UNACCC. The theme of the event is very important and timely. Therefore, I first of all extend my sincere thanks to the chairman of the Sigma Group of Institutes, Shri Harshbhai Shah, Dr. Rajat Sharma, the founder and chairman of the UNCCC, and Dr. Sanjeev Verma, the moderator, for organizing such an important event. I would also like to thank all other learned colleagues present here, including the keynote speaker and participants in this international webinar. The new education policy is a framework wishing to achieve India's sustainable goal. Through this, education in its core spirit is a continuous process. It leads one's life in a safe environment to the goal by battling with the inevitable or unavoidable various challenges. Climate change is a serious problem before the world, putting a question mark on the existence of life on the planet Earth today. There should be concrete and meaningful measures in our education policy to address this serious and challenging problem. And it is so, I believe, in this regard, with an earnest wish that there should be a solid strategy be made through education. And by this, India leads the world. I will express my views in short on climate change, a threat to life on Earth. This is what I have been expected, especially by my brother and friend, Dr. Rajat Sharma. Constant moment-to-moment change is the universal law. Nothing is beyond the scope of the law of change. How can then climate be an exception to this. However, if change, especially the climate, which is the foremost basis of life, and its continuance takes place naturally, it will often be welfareistic, an opportunity for anything to become something else. Despite this, natural resources were exploited everywhere in the world, in every country, in the continuous increasing process of development during the last thousands of years. Floras were used, nature, mountains, rivers, and all other natural sources are the part thereof, which plays a vital role in the purity, sustainability, and prosperity of the climate, has been harshly affected by the irresponsible human behavior. But it was and is inevitable, necessary, and natural in the process of development. We can say like this. In a state of its judicious exploitation, nature is still fully capable of maintaining its balance. It takes care of itself along with maintaining a climate friendly for all the elements of the planet Earth. The pages of thousands of years of history bear witness to this truth. Similarly, natural resources remain a boon in the absence of their unnecessary violation. Floras remain fosters and protectors. The process of industrialization started in the second half of the 18th century AD, especially from Europe. It was an unprecedented transformation or transformational or transformative event in the entire history of present human civilization. Not only from the development viewpoint, but it was also going to have an unbelievable impact on future life on the planet Earth. All of us today in a state of continuously increasing global warming, when the existence of life on the planet Earth is under the question mark.
I would just request all participants to please mute your mic. So Dr. Tanuja Tannu, so I am saying here, so you can please mute, and everybody are requested please mute except the speaker and the moderator, please.
Yes,
yeah.
sir.
Yes, sir. Please, sir.
Unjust, violent exploitation of natural resources and unjust tampering with nature was a step in the process for the purpose of setting up heavy industries and providing facilities for them. It continues till date. Arrangements for transportation, for import of raw materials, and export of mass production in its industries, and competition for transport facilities was another radically drastic step. It continues also till date. Both of these have badly affected the environmental balance and the original form of nature. The climate has deteriorated so much that it is now a major and the most challenging problem of life on Earth. This has posed the biggest challenge to the existence of life on Earth today, as I have already mentioned. Continuously dying rivers, ponds and springs, declining water levels, shrinking forest, 178 million hectares of forest has been reduced between the period 1990 and 2020 AD alone. And glaciers, melting ice in large quantities at poles, and as a result, rapidly rising sea levels, etc., are the result of catastrophic side effects of increasing global warming and historic climate. This has caused a paradigm shift in the change of weathers. It has reached a precarious stage. An extremely imbalanced situation of floods and droughts has arisen. In this very situation, 25% of the land in India itself is on the way to becoming a desert. Thousands of those wild animals and insects that play their most important role for future. From the nature conservation and environmental balance and climate purity point of view, and its adaptability have either become extinct or they are on the verge of extinction. According to a scientific report of the year 2016 AD, 725 such animals and insects had become extinct, and 22,550 were in the state of extinction. There is an apparent danger to human life itself. In the increasing global warming situation, many coastal metropolises and small cities are likely to be submerged in a few decades. This is a matter of serious concern for the whole world, every woman and man. Subject specialists and those who are concerned about this very serious situation have been working continuously in this direction for years. Along with alerting fellow beings, they are also trying to improve the situation in different forms. They are writing by organizing seminars or conferences, as you are doing today. They are getting them to realize about this serious situation and urging them to revert it before it is too late for us. The United Nations organizations, the biggest or highest global organization, and other international, national, regional, and local bodies are also working in this direction, but there seems to be no concrete result so far, nor has there been any visible improvement in the deteriorating situation. On the contrary, there is a talk of a gradual increase in this situation of global warming. It is estimated that in the coming 3 decades, a severe catastrophe, calamity may appear if the temperature rises by 1.5 degrees Celsius. So what to do now in such a terrible situation? First of all, every human being, man or woman, should be made acquainted with the gravity of the situation. Everyone, even the last one, should be made aware of the life-threatening results of the current situation, which seizes the existence of life on the planet Earth. After that, nature conservation should be made the fundamental duty of everyone. In this very chain, one and all should start using less and less pollution generating machines and tools, which are meant for the so-called luxury and physical pleasure. To say so is not to move in the air. For this, it is desired to make continuous efforts. Only by this will the climate be clean and stable. The atmosphere will be balanced. Conservation of nature, which essentially include the protection of animals, birds, and natural resources, we have to take on priority. We have to understand immediately ourselves that climate adaptability is our ultimate duty. It is the responsibility of all of us to allow the climate revert to its primal state. We all have to get on a boat together to get across. Otherwise, in the lack of our duty, we will sink into the alienated state, heading towards the decline of civilization. Thank you very much once again, and I request you, especially the Sigma group of institute's chairman is here, to have event like this continue, because it is a question of life on the planet Earth, and this will be your great service to the nation, to the humanity, if you step forward in this direction. Thank you very much.
बहुत बढ़िया भाई साहब.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much, Dr. Ravindra Kumar sir, and for your views and particularly motivating us and this requesting and advising this Sigma group also to take the responsibility to bear the baton further to raise the level of awareness in the region, and not only in the Gujarat and the nation, but he must always participate in inculcating lots of awareness across the globe. And fortunately, UNACCC is always with Sigma group, so there will not be any kind of problem of hesitation. And Board of Environmental Sustainability is always working towards the sustainable development goals. So where UNACCC and Board of Environmental Sustainability will always be there with Sigma. So now it's Harshaji to please take this baton and go ahead. Now, in the next, and particularly, we are very fortunate that all the great speakers who have spoken till now, His Excellency Julfikarji or His Excellency Pyarelal Watelji and Ravindra Kumarji, all are already part of our governing council of the UNACCC. So we are really very proud to have all of them on our board. So now we have Dr. Jagannath Patnaik, sir. Yeah. So thank you very much, Ravindra Kumar sir, for your words and motivating us.
Because your initiative in collaboration, this is the need of the hour, and you should also motivate them. Actually, Sigma Group. Yes, I don't know because Rajat do everything. Yesterday I was talking to him. How many projects you carry on?
भाई साहब आपका आशीर्वाद है, आपसे एनर्जी मिलती है.
Right. So really, it's a great, and we know that the Sigma Group of institution has a very good infrastructure here. So we will in the coming future also, and Dr. Shailesh Shah is already of the opinion that whenever situation permits, we will conducting some live sort of conferences also in future. So now in this context, we have one eminent educationist and Dr. Jagannath Patnaik sir with us. He is the Vice Chancellor of ICFAI University, Sikkim, and he is also the member of Governing Council of Association of Indian Universities, and he holds a lot of positions in the government committees and subcommittees, and he has a big role, and he is playing a very big policy maker role in executing the things up to the level to the society. So now I will request Dr. Jagannath Patnaik sir to please come introduce yourself, sir, with your some contributions, and then please say a few words on this occasion of this international webinar on new education policy towards achieving sustainable development goals for New India, which is being held in by the Sigma Group of Institutes in a strategic partnership with UNACCC. Over to you, Dr. Jagannath Patnaik, sir, please.
Welcome, bhai sahab, aaiye.
Ji, thank you, Dr. Sanjeev Verma ji. And I first of all would like to thank everyone who are participating today in this webinar, which is no doubt a very grand webinars, bringing so many enlightened persons like His Excellencies, Padma Shris. This is really a unique webinar to me. And I thank Dr. Rajat Sharma, Dr. Sanjeev Verma, and the Sigma Group of Institutions for bringing such enlightened people in this group. Thank you very much. And before I begin my expert on this new education policy 2020, I would like to first introduce myself. I am Dr. Jagannath Patnaik. Currently, I am the Vice Chancellor of ICFAI University Sikkim since 2018. Before that, I was Vice Chancellor of Kalinga University. And prior to that, I was the Director of Bharati Vidyapit University in Pune. I was also the Director of Vinayaka Missions University in Salem, Tamil Nadu. And also many other large group of institutions like Manipal. I was the Vice President of Education Development. I was a Registrar and Director Project of Manipal Mahe. And this all brings educations to my credentials. And currently I'm also the Board of Governing Council member of the Association of Indian Universities, as well as this Senior School Secondary Education Council. And this is a brief background of myself, and I come over the 26 years of experience in the education field. Prior to that, I was journalist, editor of different newspapers, and I also authored several books to my credits. And most of the books are in the education subjects, and some subjects related to my biographies. So once the webinar is concluded, I will share my books where you can download my books and read it to it.
Nice.
When we talk of national education policy, recently we have witnessed major unprecedented events with one leading to the other, and we are still not done yet. But on July 29, 2020, a change that was not only anticipated, but rather necessary came about in the form of the National Education Policy 2020 in India. This is the first major announcement by the Modi government. This is actually third education policy that has been brought by the Indian government in its almost after 34 years. The last policy was implemented several years ago. And this policy aims to implement and introduce a sea of changes across the all levels of educational institutions in India, including the essential understanding of education in the country, and happens to be one of the foremost positive breakthroughs of this otherwise dreadful beginning. It seeks to implement changes in the way the facilitators of such education schools, colleges, and teachers are trained and how they approach education. This policy, which has been approved by the Union Cabinet, has made revolutionary reforms in the Indian education paradigm. The main motive is making a child learn in concomitance with becoming skilled in the various fields. Can you hear me? I'm not.
Yes,
Hello?
sir. Yes, sir, we can hear you.
Yeah. Because I thought it's the main motive is making a child learn in concomitance with becoming skilled in the various fields. One is interested, the way the learners can figure out their aim and their capabilities at an early age. So basically the new education policy, these are becoming a child-centric policy, and they have to be supplied with integrated learning, mainly knowing every discipline. The same is applicable for higher education as well. The new education policy also emphasizes the reformations of teachers' education and the training processes. In a remarkable shift from the 1986 education policy, which pushed for a 10+2 structure of a school education, the revised policy expanded the age group of obligatory schooling that was from 6 to 14 years to 3 to 18 years. This new system would come with 12 years of schooling, with 3 years of preschooling or the Anganwadi. The existing structure of the school curriculum is going to be replaced by a new 5+3+3+4 curriculum structure corresponding to ages 3 to 8 years, 8 to 11 years, 11 to 14 years, and 14 to 18 years respectively. The midday meal program will be extended to preschool children also. The NEP also states that the students until 5th grade should be taught in their mother tongue or the regional languages, which were very much absent in the current scenario of school education. And the policy focuses on overhauling the curriculum. Thus, examination will be conducted only in 3rd, 5th, and 8th grades, and the rest will go for a regular assessments. Board exams would be made easier by conducting them twice a year, so that each child would get 2 attempts. There is a reduction in the syllabus to retain core essentials and thrust on experimental learning and towards critical thinking. Introduction to vocational education would be brought in schools from 6th grade and would include these as intensive. One of the strongest points that were discussed during the making of the policy was the universalization of school education, which to begin at the age of 3 years till 18 years, thus extending both ends of ages at odds with the Right to Education Act 2000. Hello. 2009, which at present covers the ages between 6 years to 14 years. Though this is a welcome move, the NEP is silent on having an amendment in the next before the implementation of the policy. Moreover, students willing to complete their graduation have to study for 4 years, whereas one can easily complete the diploma degree in 2 years. This would possibly encourage the students to leave the course midway. However, the question arises as to why the student will continue with the program if they have to leave in between. If anyone left the program midway after 2 years, then they could easily have 2 years of experience of work, which will be valuable in the long run. Also, how will a child from a lower income background answer this question when he is asked to take a diploma, or mostly the girl child who asked to stay home to take care or contribute towards the family. Whereas educators would encourage students to learn for the pure pleasure of learning. The truth is that a large number of students focus on education with the end point of getting a good packaged job. For this to happen smoothly, job opportunities throughout the exist points need to be planned well in advance so that students can have a focused approach as they make decisions about when to exist the higher education system. Concludingly, there may be a few minor loopholes. The new national education policy, nevertheless, is a revolutionary step towards our education system, but our aim should not be restricted to transmission kids with fundamental skills of acquisition and competencies. However, removing structural disadvantages, so enabling them to measure a substantive life, at the same time strengthening our society as a pro-fan democratic house. It is intriguing to envision how the norms of the policy would be implemented. However, we can be sure that this is a new age for the Indian education landscape. Thank you very much for giving me this opportunity to speak as an expert. And if anything we can share among the members, we can come out with a solution to the new education policy, some loopholes into the policy, so that we can present this to the government. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Dr. Jagannath Patnaik sir. We know education is in your blood, and all the time you are trying to implement good systems. So, in fact, I would just announce here for the participants, if you have any question with regard to this, you may please mention in the chat box, and even afterwards also, you can just send to Dr. Makaranji or Sigma Group of Institution, and you will get the answers from this thing. So be interactive, and thank you very much, Jagannath Patnaik sir, for giving a very detailed and a brief also at the same time about the good thing happened very recently in the field of education in India. So it's a great thing. Now we have another expert speaker, very renowned person, Professor Dr. Sandeep Sancheti sir. which Professor Sancheti is an institution builder, policy planner, regular columnist on various academic policies, promoter of sports in higher education, and well known for his intellectual strategic foresight. He holds a PhD from Queen's University of Belfast, UK, MSc Engineering from DTU Delhi, and BTech from NIT Warangal. He is currently the Vice Chancellor Provost at Marwari University, Rajasthan, and also the past President of this Association of Indian Universities, AIU, New Delhi. So this is a very brief, he's a very eminent personality. His contribution is very well known, very well recognized also. So I will invite Dr. Sancheti to please come here and introduce, if anything you want to add to it, it will be very beneficial to know you, what you share. So over to you, Dr. Sancheti. You can address now, sir.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Dr. Sanjeev Verma, for kind introduction and also this opportunity. Thanks also to Mr. Dr. Harsh Shah, Chairman of the Sigma Group, and also Mr. Makarand Shukla Saab, also to the other hosts who are organizing this webinar for inviting me. I'm very delighted to be in the company of many, many distinguished experts, the chief guest, Dr. Ravindra Kumar, various guests of honors and other academicians who are there. I would like to share my views on this important topic of what we call new education policy and how it's going to help sustainable development goals, particularly in context of India. I'll share some viewpoints, first on the NEP and then later on the SDGs. As you know, both are very important and both are recent in terms of their presence as far as India is concerned. And I would like to, I've been given a time slot of something like half an hour. So if everything is all right as per schedule, I'd like to use this using my PowerPoint presentation. So can I get the control of sharing the screen, Dr. Verma? Is that fine? Can I do my screen share now?
You can share, sir. You can share. Please.
Yeah, so I'm going to do it now, and I'll possibly go in the full screen mode also, and so that people can view. So like many other experts who have shared their views, I would like to start with the NEP because we are seeing everything in the light of NEP. And NEP for me is a kind of a dream because it has come at the right time when the external forces were also wanting us to change in a certain way. And then, of course, internally also, we were also seeking certain changes. So NEP announced last 29th of July 2020 is possibly a boon for educational space, in my opinion. And these were the reasons which are highlighted here, which are listed in the NEP itself, that why NEP is required, the key drivers for change. And NEP document itself says that, and obviously it says that we had a fragmented higher education system, suboptimal governance, large affiliating universities, and all that. And of course, it does not make a mention of anything related to sustainable development goals or anything directly in terms of societal aspects which are there. So the NEP has come, and this NEP 2020, I can summarize it in 3 slides because that will be important before we go to SDGs. And by the way, Chief Guest has also talked about that, and my predecessor, Jagannath Patnaik Sahab, also has talked about that. In my opinion, it is a policy which has a potential to transform, which is required in our case. It is also full of dreams because it's dreaming of 10,000 institutions becoming degree awarding very soon. Right now, it's less than 1,000 or around 1,000. It will become 10,000 in next 10, 15 years. 6% of GDP for education in terms of finances which are there. The GER is going to go up by almost double, means it will go to 50%. So these are all big dreams which are there. And hopefully it will propel us for next 15 to 20 years. And this policy, fortunately for the first time, is talking about very seamless connectivity between KG to PG kind of an education, going from lowest level in terms of starting point to the highest level PG. I cover PhD also in PG only. Very importantly, it is talking about giving us freedom. So it's a regulatory framework which will be giving with more autonomy to educational institutions. That will be very nice. It will obviously continue with the features of access, equity, quality, accountability, and transparency. They were there in the running previously also in whatever we did. But now we are also going to talk about what we call framework to promote the speed and efficiency and academic diversity. This academic diversity is important for us if you are trying to talk about SDGs. Speed and efficiency anyway are important in the current world because otherwise we'll be left behind in the race. So it's talking about world-class education in pursuit of excellence is what I would possibly say. The other features which you can possibly talk about this aspect in this case would be somewhere like this, that it gives you a policy for multiple entry, multiple exit kind of a thing. And it is also promoting the mother tongue, mother language, which can always help, or other languages. It's giving due importance to arts and humanities, which was hogged by science or engineering or maybe medical unduly. It is also going to give a single entrance examination kind of an entry into any program. So after 12th, you can very easily change your directions. So that's another feature which is there. It is going to be suitable for adult education or mature learner, which is important because after I graduate at age of 20-25, I must be learning many new things while I work till 75. And therefore, I'll be a mature learner and I need to have different models for learning. That's going to be there, and policy is talking about that. Examination reforms are very important. So open book and on demand and group examinations and various things are going to be the new features. And finally, a new scheme which has already been pronounced on 28th of July 2021, just a month old, a little over a month old. This ABC has come into force, and this will give you lots of feature of any time, anywhere, any mode, any language. That's another academic aspect of the policy. Why I'm saying all these things is, without these, all that we are trying to dream in terms of teaching this, doing that, and this will not be possible. And hence, I'm trying to bring the salient points of the NEP, which is there. So NEP is going to be the student-centric policy, education 4.0, like industry 4.0. This is going to be education 4.0. You can do programs in 3-year or 4-year for a UG degree. 4-year can be converted into 3 years and vice versa. It can be in 3.5 in the new rules which have come. But basically, it can save time and can give the flexibility to the student. You can do the education in blended mode. Roughly 40% of the components can be delivered in the blended mode. The policy is going to come out from the UGC very, very soon. I'm saying that because I was part of one of the team which was working on this. Then, of course, they have created the National Educational Technology Framework. Technology will be important. Multidisciplinarity will drive the SDGs in a very nice way, particularly the research and the development and other things which are there. There were other speakers talking about the vocational and skill credits and courses also to be integrated in the main degree stream. That's also going to happen. Then industrial and social relevance of education, projects, training, seminar, all those things are going to be once again emphasized by the NEP. And finally, the internationalization and student diversity, which most of us have started working on, with students coming from abroad and students coming from different background and all that. All in all, NEP is a scheme which is going to deliver flexibility to educators and also to the learners, to the teachers and to the students both. And therefore, whatever direction we want to take in education, we can take. That's the real mandate. It is up to an individual institution or their leadership or their board to decide what they want. Let's come to the second aspect of sustainable development goals, where I'll spend slightly more time compared to the previous NEP. And I'll share a few points which can be emphasized, which can be practiced by the educational institutions to teach and to make sure that the students get exposed to that. A student should be exposed to such practices, and then only they can think of implementing it in their own workspace or in their own way. So let's talk about sustainable development goals. So one thing, sustainable development goals out of 17, the goal number 4 itself is on education. So there is a direct connect between SDGs and education, which we're talking of. And NEP also has mentioned about the SDGs to be taken care while going ahead. So there is a link between SDG talking about education and education policy talking about SDG, and that is through the goal number 4, that is called as quality education. So we also know that in general sense, people will understand SDG in terms of green and sustainability and all that, which is right. But in broad sense, it has all 17 parameters, whether it is to talk about the poverty or hunger or health, or it can be on any other matter of water or air, or it can be on the matter of life below earth or maybe in water, like that. But we should know that some of these initiatives were started in terms of awareness by the Supreme Court order sometime back, 10, 12 years back, that we should have a compulsory environmental education course coming into the entry level, you can say, courses of the any degree program. And I'm sure that has paved way for doing much more now that we are talking about more on value education and various other aspects of societal needs. I think that becomes much more important. So SDG indirectly was finding some space earlier. But we should also know that many of the SDGs are interwoven and linked to each other. Poverty possibly has an implication on health and education has implication on both of them. It is very well known. If I'm educated, there is a potential that I may get job, or if I'm educated or skilled, maybe much more potential like that. So there are linkages, and SDGs are interwoven, which are there. So we also know that education space has started behaving or receiving the SDGs very well. In recent times, if you see the NAC particularly, they find a lot of parameters which are indirectly hinting on SDG and its implementation or its policy framework, etc., etc. And not only that, there are special provisions for rankings and rating awards which are there globally or internationally. An example of Times Higher Education has started doing the global awards for the SDG attainment, and many Indian institutions participate, including my own institutions for participating. And some of them have done good. Some of them have found a space within top 50 in the world in these kind of things under the THE framework. And then there are other frameworks which are also there, which are run by other agencies. They are also doing. So there is an awareness, there is an interest for SDG, there is a need for SDG to be implemented or SDG to be achieved, to say so. Goals are to be achieved. So SDGs are generally focusing on overall well-being of the world or the university. And they also tell us a little bit more about understanding the need and the greed in right perspective. Man has become greedy. We all want more. One of my slides later will tell you that how the time should change or have changed. And this is what is the difference between the need and the greed. We should not go in the greed. Whatever is basically needed is what we should try to use. And then finally, you can say that the societal connect will probably tell us what are the aspects of sustainability and how to learn them and how to implement them. So that's why we are talking about SDGs today. These are the important aspects of SDGs. The building blocks of SDGs, in my opinion, can be divided into social sustainability, because we're talking of sustainability development goals, which are there, and economic sustainability and environmental sustainability. As I already told you, the environmental sustainability teaching learnings have started happening. So social obviously is about the wealth and the resources for all citizens. The economic one is sound economic management and poverty alleviation and growth. Generally, everyone expects, so some growth should be there. And the environmental sustainability hinges on what we call sustainable use of the natural resources, mainly environmental goods and maintenance of functions of environmental processes. All those are very, very important for all of us. So these are the basic building blocks of sustainability, in my opinion, and they obviously have an overlap. Nothing in this world is disconnected, especially in the domain of SDG. Many parameters and many technologies and many aspects are highly, highly connected. If I show the same thing in a slightly different fashion, you probably would see that there is a element of economy, society, and environment, which I'm showing in the center of the view graph, which is here. But economy is driven by the products or production. Society is driven by services rendered, and environment is created by the infrastructure. And if we see the connect, we'll find out that the education is the one which will drive the quality of infrastructure, quality of service, and quality of products. These are all very, very important in my opinion. So education is the one which can be a catalyst for SDG and in terms of implementing or getting or achieving all those aspects of economy, society, and environment. I come to one statement which I like and which I make, and I need to say here that education, in my opinion, can be one pill for all the ills which we have. We have lots of problem in our living, and obviously it will continue as long as we do. But if there is an educated person, the chances are the impacts of the ills will be less, and they will survive the certain tides which are high or low depending upon where they are moving, and so on and so forth. So education, if it is done properly, the chances of our success or good SDG attainment would be very nice. So I come to this small picture which I'm trying to show you here with all the 17 SDGs which I have mapped. And I've just, and this is my own mapping, don't take it as a very standard thing from any source or whatever. I've done, if there is an automobile sector, to how many SDGs it is connected. You probably see around 8. Computers and electronics, if you'll possibly see, you'll probably find it around 10. I'm more or less saying direct connections. Indirectly, everything is connected to computer today. Health, if I'm probably seeing around 11, 12 parameters connected to the SDGs directly. And when I see the education, I see in all around 14 of them directly, or 13 of them directly connected to the education. What I'm trying to impress upon you here is, if education is there, the chances of attainment of those goals would be much higher in comparison to any other parameter you drive. You remove my poverty, but don't educate me, the chances are that you will not attain all the goals. You keep me in good health, but still don't educate me, the chances are once again the attainments will not be. Because a situation like COVID, which when it came, the educated people probably had a better opportunity to deal with it in terms of understanding what is being written, what is being suggested, what are the protocols. The people who were not educated probably depended on others, and probably they were guided not adequately, and therefore there were challenges. So education possibly has a very, very strong, you can say, relation or potential in terms of bringing success to all the SDGs if it can be dealt with. So I'll not necessarily worry about only SDG number 4 called quality of education. Quality is certainly a concern, but I would also be equally bothered about education itself, which is a concern in India to some extent. And that's why I'm pointing this kind of a thing right here. So features of sustainability and self-reliance possibly can be understood in terms of certain things that simplicity, responsibility, respect, commitment, and creativity. They will help you attain self-reliance and sustainability. Simplicity is basically doing right things at right time. Responsibility is basically take the right decision, which are natural, environment centric, or which are taking care of the responsibility of the decisions or the actions which are there. Respect is for the traditions. Some of the traditions are very, very good, and they are typically for long-term sustainability. Commitment is for future generations, basic needs and economic security and self-reliance. That's a commitment. And creativity is very important in the context of today's world, that we come out with newer solutions where we waste less water, we can freshen or purify the air more easily, or have the less use of energy for doing the same actions. Those will all come from innovations which are there. So all in all, these are the features of the sustainability and self-reliance which are there. And one important thing for sustainability, what you require is right use of resources. We here in this picture, I'm trying to show a gentleman having large amount of resources, but he's wasting them. He's still unable to climb the wall in spite of having so many ladders at his disposal. I think that is sometimes where we land in terms of use of resources, that we waste a lot of food, we waste a lot of water. People like me, when we face these things in our challenges, I decided that I'll generally use one full basket, a bucket of water. When I take bath, I'll fill the bucket and then I'll go for bath rather than having an open tap and taking bath where I don't know how much is the quantity. Same way, most of us travel in good cars and we hardly get exposed to any dust. I've made it a routine that some of the clothes possibly will be washed once in twice after 2 uses. So sometimes when we use the resource nicely, possibly we can say that. Some people have taught me that whenever they open a bottle of water, they make sure that they carry it till they use it fully. I think those kind of good practices can always help us with sustainability. And these are very simple steps, can be done by individually. So what will be the role of education in this self-reliance and sustainable development? Let's take some examples. These are not necessarily all the examples I have done in my institution. Some of them may be imaginative also, but many of them have been done in my own institution. So one, to promote this through teaching learning, I think sharing of values and sustainability principles. Values are very, very important. Most of us have vision, mission, but don't have too much values to talk about. And unless we practice those values, unless we showcase those values in our functioning, unless we teach them about those values, things may not happen very easily. Or if it happens, it will happen very late. Which is true that over a period of time, you will, from experience, learn something. But otherwise, if it is done early, it might be very, very good. You should also allow critical reasoning, problem solving, industrial and research collaborations for sustainable development. Use educational methods through debate and demonstration, not just by force. Allow them to participate, allow them to do it in a certain way. And also participation of stakeholders in decision making. Suppose you want to use water, how much quantity of water is to be allowed and given to each individual for a given application. I think it should be debated and then decided, and then the chances are that you will follow it and everyone follow it. Also deal with the local and global issues at the same time. For example, if I'm doing something in my electronics and communication, it will generally be a global issue and global technology. But when it comes to water and air, possibly it will be local issue, local technology. And sometimes the implements can also change. And also ensure that what are the short-term, long-term, and other perspectives in terms of sustainability, etc. The challenges which we face, some have been overcome. Number one, national education policy. So it has come in a right perspective. Number two, teaching learning capacities. Now the NEP also gives you a lot of liberty. So capacities can be enhanced and we can do. The challenge, of course, remains in proper assessments and examinations and competitive curricula. Competitive curricula is also happening. We are able to see it from here and there, but in terms of delivering it, there are certain challenges right now, and assessments are anyway a bigger challenge. Cross-cutting issues are infrastructure, governance system, population density and growth, which is too high compared to rest of the world in India. And therefore, there are things which are there. And then finally, frequent disasters and climate changes. They are also causing difficulty in understanding what is sustainable and what is not sustainable and how to achieve that. So some sustainable development activities in a given institute, what you can do is what I'm highlighting here, that you can, number one, create a core group for sustainable development goals in your institution and let them come out with a target that this is what we want to achieve in this year or that year. This is the money available for that. This is the time available. These are the people available. And these are the attainments we want to do. And this is how we'll take the feedback and all that. And this is how we'll reach wherever we want to reach. So there should be core groups for that. Mainstreaming the SDGs in the education by building partnerships are equally important. Embed sustainability aspects in curriculum, community, various other things which you do, and your own educational management practices which are there. Raise and promote self-reliance and sustainability awareness amongst faculties, staff, and students. Once again, by good practices. Maintain good surrounding landscape with respect to environment and societal values. establish effective and efficient utilities and procurement measurements, once again, for procedures for procurement, etc. And finally, proper disposal of things which are not of use or waste disposal. I think those are some things which you can create at an institution level, in my opinion. When we go to some sustainable development programs, you can possibly, programs means some functions and some events which you can do. That's what I mean by programs here. Celebrate the World Environment Day by calling dignitaries like you've done right now in this webinar. And topics can be how to beat air pollution or plastic pollution, and tree plantation can be grown, biodiversity and all that. Various things you can do. Organize programs on hygiene and sanitation, water bodies cleaning, etc. And maybe some demonstrations also. Visits to STPs and all that can be done. Visits to groundwater recharging pits and all that should be done. All those things can be done. Similarly, organize environmental, economical, and societal leadership training for sustainability. Create leaders, individuals amongst the students can do or teachers can do. Also participate in Swachh Bharat internships and Swachhta Abhiyan and NSS teams to educate people in the rural background to do all that. Also talk about campaigns and awareness on the global warming and climate change, etc. And then finally conduct workshops on trends, urban planning, sustainable development, smart cities, environmental management. Some or other aspect will be appealing to every individual, and they'll start practicing, and then they will see the connect with the sustainability. That is how the full thing will follow. Another one which I thought I'll probably share would be smart technologies for sustainability are important. So smart buildings with access, and these are, as I said, typically useful for the educational institution. So you can possibly do, you can do a lot of things like automatic doors and biometric accesses, which are there. Centralized air conditioning can be more cost effective and more environmentally friendly or energy friendly. You can use robot and mechanical devices, which may be cleaning certain surfaces and spaces where you have created special facilities for your laboratory or for your teaching, learning, or even for gyms, and other things can be done. And they can be making the environment very, very nice and sustainable, and always educating people that this is required. Continuous measurement of important parameters using IoTs and displaying it in your own campus on a board, that today air is like this, water is like this, consumption is like this, something like that. Projectors and digital boards in classrooms can possibly do some help in terms of improving the delivery of contents. Electrical vehicles within the campus can be a very big boon, and they can be designed by the students, and they can be run, and they can learn a lot about this. E-lab facilities can also save a lot of these things in terms of the space and the cost and various other things which are required, because this instrument can be acted upon very, very easily remotely. Similarly, automation of library can do certain savings in terms of, you can say, environmental aspects. Computerization of books and facilities, or bookings of halls and boardrooms, etc., can also be making many things which are environmentally fast. And finally, you can also do meteorological towers for monitoring atmospheric parameters within your campus. So these are some of the avenues which one can do. And finally, some of the futuristic efforts can be, we should make energy and material efficient campus to achieve zero waste. People do use zero water discharge. I will possibly use zero waste for everything which you have. Can you recycle what you have in your campus? Bio waste can be for biogas and all that, and various other things can be for various other aspects which are there. Triple use of water inside the campus by using dual plumbing would be a very, very good feature, that you use the bathroom water once, let it go to the toilet users, and then finally when it comes, you treat it with STP and then take it for gardening and all that. That would be very nice. Or make targets like that. I'll reduce the water consumption 2% every year by bringing some features. Like I said, that make people take oath that they will take baths with only one full bucket of water and not more than that. Probably that will reduce the consumption. Operate paperless offices and all that. The electronic technology allows you that, and therefore you can cut down the cost and impact on the environment. Reduce the greenhouse gas emissions through whatever means you are generating them. Reduce them, like solar cooking is very, very important. Solar steam-based cooking is very important that you can do. use generally solar or natural sources of energy wherever you can. Wind or other things are also there. A lot of people are now making potable water using some newer techniques which are there. Encourage walking and cycling, and also use of public transport or car sharing or e-vehicles or even bicycles coming from city and all that, people coming on bicycles. All those things will be very handy. And finally, regular updates on sustainability activities on the institute website should find a right place. And lastly, I can say that they participate in SDG related rankings and ratings. In my own learning, I have improved. I have learned about these only by doing such things. That what do they want? Many of us claim that I'm doing all that, but we don't have anything to showcase in terms of value, that how much greenhouse gas emission I have eliminated, how much of natural power I have used against the power which is supplied by the electrical grid or whatever. So unless we parameterize them, measure them, we'll not be able to tell how much sustainability, how much contribution we have made towards sustainability. And then finally would be increase open and green areas, undertake regular tree plantation. I think government is doing 1 student, 1 tree plantation for last 2 years. First year, there was a huge interest in that. But last 2 years, the interest has dried a little bit, maybe because of Corona, but we need to follow these things. So basically, educating and guiding the students to be green citizens is what we should keep driving in our future, is very important. And last 2 slides, essentially after this conclusion, redefining the mandates of education. I think 19th and 20th century citizens, as engineers, I'm an engineer, so I may say, we are told that bigger is better, and it's defining, oh, my building height is 100 floors or this and that. I've designed structures for that. All those were considered to be very, very big. Build things, visible entities to meet society's need. That was the dream earlier, but now we need to change it in the 21st century. Create things, optimize every aspect while supporting society's needs. I think that is a shift which we possibly need between last century and the current century. And that can happen only through education and by letting people know the pros and cons of everything. So concluding slide, with that I'll close. And the conclusion is that self-reliance or sustainable development will not happen on its own. It needs action from everyone involved. And that is why starting early at school education or higher education would be very important. Education obviously will be a catalyst which is there. And universities should deliver better understanding of sustainable development and related parameters, because it cannot be found in books easily, and the cross connections cannot be understood easily between certain things which are there. And we should practice the concepts of self-reliance and sustainable development, and learn new courses and special techniques to achieve all these and such objectives time to time. What I have learned today will not be true or valid or will applicable or useful 5 years down the line or 10 years down the line, so that we should understand. Inspire every student to participate and make difference to the world, and based on some of the eco-friendly practices or eco-friendly living. And finally, the last word, changing and evolving with newer set of technologies, practices, and methodologies with more positive impact on sustainability. Whatever changes, research, development, innovation you are bringing, bring it with the impact on the sustainability. I think with that, you can possibly say education will be able to play an important role towards attaining SDGs and probably make a difference to the India today and India of tomorrow. Thank you so much to all of you for this opportunity. I hope I have maintained my time, and if there are any questions, I'll be more than willing to take them. Thank you so much. Thank you.
It was really fantastic sharing by you, sir. And particularly, I was just, you mentioned that the education, how education is linked with almost all the 17 goals, except through 3, you just escaped. And so I want to say that how the goal number 4 is now important, because if education is playing so much a vital role and connected with almost all the SDG, so goal 4, which is quality education, this is very, very important. We already know that Vidya dadati vinayam, vinaya dati patratvam, Patratva dhanam apnoti dhanam dhanyam tatah sukham.
Very well.
So this is really this.
बिल्कुल वर्मा वाली बात कह ही दिया आपने. We expect this from you. Good.
Really, so how you just articulated Dr. Sancheti this thing, and very fortunate that this webinar is going to be one of the milestone. We already have its recordings and will play and to show to our students. But how Dr. Ravindra Kumarji has set this thing, and now how you have set, and as a leader, you have quoted certain things. You have taken a personal commitment. How you are following certain things just to obey the environmental conservation, so water conservation, and all these things. So great. It's really a great thing, sir. So I really thank all of you, sir, for honoring us, for giving us so much of precious words, views over here.
Thank you, Dr. Verma. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, so thank you very much, sir. And now we have Janta Chaudhary ji. So I would just request him, because we already have listened a lot on this education and very well connected, and almost each and every aspect of education and how this is connected to this thing. So Janta Chaudhary ji is again a very passionate person, and he is associated with Bandhan Bank, and he is associated with Ministry of External Affairs also, and lot of key positions he is holding. So I would request him to please introduce yourself, sir, and say a few words on the topic today. So over to you, Janta Chaudhary, sir.
Welcome, Janta ji.
Yeah, I am audible.
Yes.
Okay, namaskar. So thank you. I'm delighted to be here, and discussion is very pertinent, and it is a very difficult after Professor Sancheti ji. I mean, everything he has covered and nothing left for us. So I mean, only few things. Okay, but okay. I'm from background of rural development. So I did my masters in rural development, particularly microfinance and area, and that's why, as mentioned, I am a board of director in Bandhan Financial Holding Limited. But at present, I am associate professor, National Institute of Rural Development under Ministry of Rural Development. You know that. And we work on that SDG, particularly localizing SDG. And with some ambition, I have also formed a global forum for sustainable rural development, which is now working in 117 countries. So last I mean, even 8 months it is working. And with the Ministry of External Affairs, I am the board of director Forum for India Development Cooperation. So these are a few things, and as a part and parcel of, as academic, Professor Sancheti ji is there, Ravindra sir ji is there, everybody. So some book, obviously it is their book and research and consultancy all together. But I am in Guwahati right now, but from West Bengal. My education is from Vishwabharati University, established by Rabindranath Tagore. So that concept of rural development, I am carrying is a thought of Gurudev Rabindranath Tagore, who is a great philosopher of education. Whatever the sustainable development goal and education we are talking today, he's a long back. It was his dream. So all the things almost covered by Professor Sancheti. So whatever left for me, I'm just trying to cover within few slides, directly link with that SDG and NEP. So NEP and SDG, as mentioned, is a close relation. So please allow me just a few slides. Yeah. Okay. My screen is coming there.
Yeah. You are audible.
Okay.
It's visual. Yeah.
Okay. So just I'm taking few slides, and that's in directly, as I mentioned, because new education policy already discussed, nuts and bolts. I mean, nothing left on that. But it is that new education policy is a dream, even transform. We are not in the position, not in a position to whether it's a good or bad. These are all politicals, and lot of other things are there. We are confined because the government is going to implement. So let us move on that, and how it is related to our major theme. And new education policy, I am directly coming to that SDG goal number 4.2. SDG 4 already mentioned, but I'm trying to link, okay, everything linked, but the SDG goal number 4, under that there are sub clause, you know that some targets are there within the goal. So SDG 4 number, goal number, the target 4.2 is the equal access to the quality pre-primary education. Here it is the basic gap. Earlier it was that the Right to Education Act was not covering the 3 to 6 year age, but new education policy is going to catch those things. So this is the gap, and that is much bigger. So more prosper, more inclusive, we can say in that say. So SDG goal number, target number 4.2 and our new education policy is at par matching. Next, if you go to that SDG goal number 4, target number 4.3, where it is the equal access to affordable technical and vocational education. Already is mentioned that under new education policy, the vocational education will be provided at the young age and technical education such as coding or this. And as I mentioning that even there's a very beginning, the Ravindra Tagore was started the Sriniketan, not the Shantiniketan. You are well about the Shantiniketan, but Sriniketan experiment of rural development, where he has made that this vocational education long back. And so many vocational education is giving now a thrust, and there is a council, there is a committee, there is a all together. Even in the northeastern states also a lot of things are there, like in our Tripura University, where I was a faculty. I started a course on post-graduation diploma in bamboo cultivation and resource utilization, 1 year diploma course, unique, first time in any country in India that this is any university has started a course. So vocational education is going to take, because the employment, you are looking through SDG goal number 10 also, the decent work and other the employment scenario. So vocational, this new education policy is also thrusting on that, and this is also at par SDG target 4.3. Similarly, if you go to the SDG target 4.4, that the increase of the number of people with relevant skill and for financial success. Here is the key term that has come into that. What is that? From the 10.2 model, now we are going for 5+3+3+4 model. And that is almost all the developed countries are following those things. Though somebody is doubting whether we are ready to follow this model, the Western countries model will be applicable to India or not. But my question is that let us start. Already so many years we have done so many things, some success, some failure. But let us start, something new should be done. Then the time will give us the answer, whether it's a good or bad. Now we are not in the position to assess also. Now we are not in the position to talk on this thing, but that is a shifting. But the only thing is that, as already mentioned, that the ABC, the Academic Bank of Credit, that is making more education to reaching to the all. No one should left behind. That is the thing. If I am thinking for do this subject, I can go that. So even there are a lot of debates on that. I'm sure even a lot of areas, but let us hope for that. Let us hope for that. But the only thing is, it is going to add to the SDG target number 4.4. That is that it is going to increase the number of people with relevant skill, so that it is not necessary that you from the science background you will come and they will go to be the doctor. But even from the arts background also you can come. So that option, the choices are given. And another is that we have the enrollment ratio in the higher education very less, which this new education policy is going to catch that 50% in by the 2035. Though our SDG is targeting 2030, but I don't know, because of the pandemic situation that they may extend that time period, maybe 2050. But in India, we are targeting that at least 2035 will be higher education. Until and unless we are investing on the higher education, until and unless we are getting the more student in the higher education, the research and the engineering, the medicine and other, the country will not progress. It is not only the elementary education. It is not only the mere literacy. It is not only the arithmetic, but in the higher education, it must continue. That's why our new education policy is figuring up the right thing in the right manner. So SDG target number 4.4 and our NEP is also at par again. Next, come to the target number 4.5. Target number 4.5 is eliminate discrimination in education. Elimination discrimination in all form. we are talking of the gender equality in the SDG goal number 5. We are talking to the that equality. We are talking about those things. So equality is the inclusive development for whom? So personal disabilities, for the scheduled caste, scheduled type, OBCs. We are talking about who are not that at par, to bring them in this platform. So that's why nowadays the digital, the blended method, the digital platform, that those things are there. We are suffered mostly from the northeastern states. We are don't have the quality, even the sufficient number of faculties. Sometimes we have to. So this the digital platform, digital era is helping us to get the knowledge and resources from other states. I'm coming, Sanjeev ji, just only one slide
yes,
I have.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, yes.
So SDG goal number 4.6 is the universal literacy and numeracy. The universal literacy and numeracy, this is also one of the goal, and this is as per SDG and as per our new education policy is going to that. The national fundamental literacy and numeracy will be set up to provide the basic literacy and numeracy skill by 3rd grade. And this is the very good news, considering that India has declared the participant to the PISA survey, which tests the basic English and even the assay report also. Sometimes they brought the good report year after year. The minimum level of achievement, the MLA concept, the minimum level of achievement in the education. And now the enrollment ratio at the age of 6 in India is at 96% since 2010. But the rate of the dropout is very high, particularly where we are belonging, the northeastern part, that the dropout among the tribal people, tribal student is very high in compared to other. I'm sure one of our teacher from Sikkim, ICFA University, he is also there. He knows that thing. In the northeastern state, there is a massive dropout on the tribal level. So this is a great opportunity for the universal literacy and numeracy, which is the goal number or the target number 4.6. New education policy is going to link those. So with this is the direct link. As I mentioned, Professor Sancheti ji already made so a lot of things. I'm just coming with the 5 minutes time was given. So is that the thing is that education till it's a part of that state matter, and there is a lot of question mark whether the new education policy will be fully implemented. Even that language, the language is already in the South India and other the language. There's a questions are coming, but okay, we are hopeful. In the very beginning, everything, whenever you start, you will face some challenge, no doubt, from the stereotype to something new, wherever new, and we are the entrepreneur mentality. You do something new, you will face challenge, but we are sure slowly the state will underlie. It is the add part to the international standard, so they will also come join. There may be some modification, some amendment, nothing wrong. Even our constitution, so many amendments, but till we believe in the constitution. Similarly, new education policy also, there may be some changes, no doubt about that. It may be the state specific, but it will go at for the international standard, at for the fulfilling of such. With this, thank you very much. I'm sure I have done justice within the time frame. Sorry, Sanjeev ji. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. You have done very good justice, and particularly you covered this thing very well. And in fact,
very good.
I am just finding that Dr. Sancheti, Jagannath Patnaik sir, Ravindra Kumarji, and all His Excellency Julfikar, they can talk a day long also on the subject, because they have internalized the things. They have a lot to say on this regard. So we will be conducting lots of seminars, and we will be giving opportunity to all of you, and sometime we will conduct some focused also. So thank you very much, Janta ji, for your speech and your opinion, your review. Now we have Dr. Sahdev Singh ji. So I would request him to, within 2-3 minutes, if you can just give your opinion or message, so it will be great. So it's just a request to you, sir.
Yeah,
Dr. Sahdev Singh.
Welcome.
Dr. Sahdev Singh ji is serving the Indian government from past 20 years and with an excellent service record. and Central Secretary Service Cadre Officer. So Saddev Singh is at present serving as Under Secretary in the Department of Justice, Law and Justice, Ministry of Home Affairs to the Government of India. And in fact, he was on deputation as Assistant Commissioner, Deputy Assessor and Collector in the South Delhi Municipal Corporation also. And he is holding a lot of positions. He again a passionate person. I'm interacting with him, getting his view at many occasions. So over to you, Sajdev Singh ji, and we know that your life itself is an inspiration for many. So just in 2-3 minutes, please cover today's session, sir. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, Varma. Thank you. First of all, I am very much thankful to my dear big brother, Dr. Rajat Sharma ji, who is also chairman of UNACC, for inviting me in this international webinar on this education policy and the SDGs comparative to each other. My heartiest thanks to and welcome to our this chief guest of Padam Shri Dr. Ravindra Kumarji and Dr. Harsh Shah ji, Professor Sancheti ji and Professor Jagannath ji, and also my colleague, also the guest of honor, His Excellency Julfikar ji and His Excellency Vatel ji and Dr. Janta Chaudhary ji also. And also I am very much thankful to our this today's moderator and my dearest brother, Sanjeev Verma ji. He is also Secretary General of UNACC. So yeah, already you told that almost all these things are covered under on the today's topic. But anyhow, when my 3 minutes, I have to be covered on that also. So yeah, the education first of all was that introduced in our constitution was also a state subject. But anyhow, in 1976, through the constitutional amendment, it was now become the concurrent subject. Concurrent list subject means both the union government and the state government can make the policy. That's why, because of that, this this national education policy was framed by the union government and now being implemented by the education through the state government. This is the main structure how in our unitary and the federal character of the government we are following. So based on that, on the education, I have just quotations 2 or 3. These profound words from this visionary statesman of Mahatma Gandhi ji still resonate in my mind. True education must correspond to the surrounding circumstances, or it is not a healthy growth. What is really needed to make democracy function is not knowledge of facts, but the right education. These are the words of Mahatma Gandhi. So our national education policy was just approved recently, our union government, and also it replaced the 1986 policy. So almost the characters of the and salient features of the union our national policy almost discussed by our Sancheti Professor Saab and Professor Jagannath Saab also. And Janti ji, how he is comparatively make his slides as per our policy and this SDGs also. So main crux of this policy is just earlier that was the +2 10 +2 standard. Now it has become the +5 +3 +3 +4. Means the foundational stage, third 6th year, that is Anganwadi or preschool Anganwadi, and then 7th 8th, that is first and second class, then pre-stages 9th to 11th, then middle school and the high school, like that. It is now divided by the 5 +2, 3 +3 +4 pattern. And now this all educational courses are become twice in a year, and the examination will be conducted twice a year. And graduation degrees are also 4 years, like that. And there are some agencies which are crucially involved in the education: University Grants Commission, AICT, MHRD, and UNESCO also. UNESCO, that is the part of UNESCO. How it is now comparative to this our SDGs actually, because SDG 4 is especially talk about our this the ensure inclusive and equitable quality education and promote life learning opportunities for all. So on that, this is a very great example now Professor Sancheti has told about all. How we can use the right resources, use of right resources, the person who is just trying to climb up the wall, but he can't. It means the right of use of resources is must. And also that the three dimensions of sustainability, professors have also mentioned very well. Social and economic, environmental, the issues are also involved in the SDGs. And he also talked about the self-reliance sustainability will not happen on its own. It needs the action by everyone involved. That is the crux of this today's, we can say. So almost all these things are covered before me. So nothing is left. I think that 3 minutes is also going to be covered now for me. So once again, I am very much thankful to all the delegates and all these our highly eminent professors and very distinguished experience they have. And Raja Sarmaji is one. Once again, I am very much thankful to Vermaji also.
Right, sir.
Again, I have one quotation here remembered in this perspective on education. Dr. Ambedkar, he told, the cultivation of mind should be the ultimate of the human existence. If we have not any resources used by the proper way and not we achieved in a human existence, so that is the main, we can say the example our professors have told. So education is the main pillar of all the SDGs, how it is co-interlinked with all these SDGs. So really, I am very much thankful to learn a lot about all our professors, very dignitaries, especially our Padam Shri Award, Ravindra Kumar Sahab. I am very much thankful to Sigma Group also, who managed very well this webinar. Thank you, Vermaji and Raja Sahab. Thank you once again. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. I may take, this is getting very emotional actually, Vermaji. We have heard the most eminent panel and we are fortunate to have such enlightened souls with us as panelists, as chief guest, as our keynote speaker. And this reminds me of something. I'll just take 1 minute. Taking a cue from what Professor Dr. Sancheti sir and Padma Shri Dr. Ravindra Kumar sir just mentioned in their addresses. One such a great association between United Nations, which has taken the lead about SDGs, and India is the International Day of Yoga. And I just wore my pin that was gifted to me by the UN Secretary General while I was serving as a diplomat in Embassy of India in Indonesia, and celebrating one of the largest international days of yoga. So as we speak, we must go for a future which is towards bringing in communion body, mind, and soul. And that is something that India has given to the world. I was told by our founder of Sigma Group of Institutes and our father figure and the visionary academician, Shri Shailesh Shah sir, to convey his message actually, as he is parallelly at the same time a chief guest in an offline physical event felicitating more than 30 rural school principals for achieving SDGs in their own areas. But I assume that Shailesh Shah sir has taken some time out and he has joined us. So with your permission, Sanjeev Vermaji, it was your idea actually. On behalf of both of us, may I invite and request Dr. Shri Shailesh Shah sir, our founder and our father figure of Sigma Group, to please bless us all at this event. Over to you, Shailesh Shah sir.
Yeah, Dr. Shailesh Shah sir, please address us, sir. Yeah, Dr. Shailesh Shah sir, you can please unmute if you are here. and add this with your wording, sir.
Actually, his office has joined. His office has joined on his behalf.
Okay. No.
Basically, he wanted to convey what all the eminent panelists have just said, because just to give a small brief about Shri Shailesh Shah sir, he has a span of half a century of business, and basically he has had some of the best business successes during his 50 years of active career with public interface. And in last 20 years, around in the first year of the millennium, he got this vision and to cherish his ultimate dream of investing and disinvesting all his resources into academics. That's how the birth of Sigma Group of Institutes took place, with a school, actually with a primary school. And now, as we see, it has become a Vata Vriksha. It has become a banyan tree in Baroda. And Baroda actually is Vadodara. Vadodara, what signifies is a Vad. Vad ka jo vriksha hota hai, banyan tree, उससे आधारित, उससे इंस्पायर होकर वडोदरा शहर पर नाम दिया गया है। और उसी को सिग्निफाई करता है सिग्मा ग्रुप। Sigma literally as a word means a summation of all. So I'm just conveying his words and his message.
Yeah, please.
That the only vision has what he had was Sarvetra Sukhinah Santu, Sarve Santu Niramaya, Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu, Ma Kaschid Dukhamapnayat. सबका भला हो, सब सुखी रहें और सब शांति से रहें। और इसके लिए the prime focus should be on education, and only through proper, good, environmental and eco-friendly and all holistic education system can we achieve all our sustainable development goals. That is what Shailesh Shah sir had to convey to the esteemed gathering from the dais. Actually, on the program, he called me and he has conveyed his blessings to all of us. Thank you once again, all of you. Over to you, Sanjeev Verma ji. Sir.
Thank you very much, and we heartily appreciate the contributions and the slogan. Like we already heard, it's a KG to PhD. So this concept, and you are having this solution KG to PhD. It's a very good. So really, and particularly, this is again fortunate that whole of the family is already a philanthropic nature. In fact, Dr. Shreya Shah is also was to join, but unfortunately she could not join. But she is very much engaged in the CSR activities on behalf of Sigma, and doing a lot for the poor children and a lot for the society. So it's a great thing. And I am also congratulating Sigma for associating with UNSCCC, and the Board of Environmental Sustainability Trust will always be there to support you all. And Dr. Rajas Sharma ji already, and there is one announcement just I received that the International Postdoctor Association has selected Dr. Rajas Sharma as a national chairman for India. So a lot of this big association, they are pulling Dr. Rajas Sharma ji, his energy, in fact, I would say his speed, nature of work, kind of work, and strategy, and all these things. So he's a devoted person. So now it was a very, very fantastic webinar today. It was international, I would say, because we received a gist of and a very good essence of peace also while Dr. Zulfikar Ali was talking. So Zulfikar Karyali ji has a vision to propagate this peace all across. He has the United Nations University of Peace, and very much willing to associate with the partners in India. So heartily thankful to him. And Dr. Padma Shri, always Dr. Ravindra Kumarji, he's so approachable and he spares his valuable time, because we know all the time channels are just very much behind him to have his bite, his opinion, all the political scenario, current scenario, and all the time he's busy and lot of other government initiative, policy comments, and all these things. But he always spares the time for us. It's a great honor for us and great thanks from our side. And so it was a very, very good from Jagannath Sahab, Sancheti ji. Your PPT was excellent. In fact, it itself is a very good and it's a learning, worth learning thing. Janta Chaudhary ji, you have touched on a very short and sweet to the focused to the quality of education. Dr. Sadeb Singh ji, you are really a smart person, and how you can fit your words and very well articulated the things. And we know really this is a concurrent subject and this thing. So we will always be inviting you, sir, for our other webinars from some this thing and have your. But now I would like to request Dr. Rajas Sharma ji to please come here and say a few words on thanks, and particularly for his vision. I really heartily appreciate his vision, like he started the things for this 1 million SDG warriors, then SDG Gurukul concept for honoring the schools, and then SDG Guru concept for honoring the people and the leaders like you people are here propagating. So now I am inviting Dr. Rajas Sharma ji to please come here and say a few words, vote of thanks to all our guests and expert speakers today. Over to you, Dr. Rajas Sharma ji.
Good evening to everyone.
Yeah. Good evening, sir. Good evening. Good evening.
It's an honor and privilege to propose the vote of thanks on this memorable occasion. Let me first of all start by giving glory to the Almighty God for making today's occasion a resounding success. First and foremost, I thank our chief guest, Dr. Ravindra Kumarji. His blessing always behind me as an elder brother. And I also express my heartfelt thanks to Mr. Sancheti, the Vice Chancellor of Marwari University, for his valuable contribution. We are grateful to Dr. Jagannath Patnaik ji, Vice Chancellor ICFAI University, who, despite his busy schedule, has found time grace this occasion with respect of my request to join this webinar. I thank our well-wisher, His Excellency Shri Julfikar Ghadiali ji, who is the ambassador for United Nations UP's Commission, and he also invite me or appoint me some month back as a National Strategic Advisor for UP's. I'm also thankful UN diplomat Mr. Vatel, Dr. Janta ji, Dr. Sahdev ji. Again, my heartfelt thanks to Dr. Harsh Shah, Chairman, Sigma Group of Institution. I owe a special gratitude to Sigma founder, Mr. Shailesh Shah ji. I really appreciate his hard work, his dedication. As I saw last 5 years, 6 years, I was attached with them to establish the Sigma as Gujarat's leading education hub. It's a Gujarat, very big, I can say large campus in Gujarat, education campus. I thank all the distinct invitees present here. I am thankful to Dr. Sanjeev Verma ji for your contribution, and special thanks to Makaran bhai for success of this webinar. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you, Rajaji.
Thank you, Rajaji.
So really, from bottom of my heart, and I just pranam to all our today's this thing, and all, including the participants. We had Bodhisattva Acharya ji and lot of this thing. We're really conducting a lot of this is just a beginning. So we'll giving opportunity to a lot of our persons to say. So really thanking to all, sir, including Makaran ji.
Next webinar you are there.
Yeah. So thank you so much. Yeah. So thank you very much, sir. So
thank you everyone, and happy Teachers' Day to all of you in advance. It's going to be tomorrow.
Very much, sir. Thank you.
Right, sir. Thank you.
We need your blessings. We need all of your blessings. And once again, I take this opportunity to thank you all on behalf of Sigma and UNACCC for sparing your valuable time. And this is just the beginning, if I may say. Lots more to come. and lots more brain churning and samudra manthan जैसे हुआ था और उसमें से रत्न निकलते रहे थे. We will continue to harass you and take on taking your time out from your busy schedules so that a large number of our audience, our faculties, our students, not just Sigma, but everywhere through the virtual platforms may be benefited out of it. Thank you so much all. Thank you. Namaste. Shubha Sandhya. A very good evening. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much, Dr. Shailesh Sahaji, Dr. Harsh Sahaji, Dr. Shreya Sahaji, Makranji from Sigma Group of Institute, and all for partnering with UNSSC. Thank you, thank you, thank you very much. We are just announcing the end of today's webinar, sir. Thank you very much.
Thank you Varma ji. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Sadev sir. Thank you, Parul Rai ji.
तो पारुल बहन भी आई हुई हैं भाई.
Parul Rai ji, thank you. Yeah.
Okay, wonderful, wonderful.
Thank you very much.
आपका माइक म्यूट है. जी पारुल बहन.
Thank you Rajat ji. Thank you.
हाँ,
Thank you, sir.
Thank you
very much.
Yeah. And